So you're ready to start getting organized. You've identified a project that you're actually pretty excited about. But in the back of your mind, you keep asking yourself, what am I going to do when I reach that roadblock in which I don't know what the next step needs to be? I definitely don't want to start another project that I'm never going to finish. Hi, Audrey Thomas with Organized Audrey, bringing you video tip number 4 in this series called Organizing Fundamentals. Today I'm going to give you 5 tips for getting organized and being successful in finally finishing an organizing project. So let's get started. Tip number 1, start out small. What I mean by this is choose a project that you know will take less than 30 minutes to complete. Perhaps you even set a timer using your cell phone if you want, so you can keep an eye on that. But when you complete a project in less than 30 minutes, it's going to motivate you to go on to the next project, and it will really position you for making sure that you begin to finish projects. I recently did this with my coat closet. I went through my closet and it actually took less than 15 minutes. But I pulled out some coats that I wasn't wearing, and it turned out that I wasn't wearing them because they're dirty. So I simply had to throw them in the washing machine. I also pulled out a few coats that I know that my husband and I are no longer wearing, but they're in great shape. So I made sure they were clean and then I donated them. This project took less than 15 minutes. This next project, taking a look at all my flower pots for the spring, took about 25 minutes. I bought some new pots at the end of last season, and I knew that before I ordered my plants for this year, I needed to take a look at which pots I was going to use and which I wasn't. And I just did that this last weekend. Our snow is finally melting here in Minnesota, and so I could get out there and take a look at the pots. But again, these were 2 projects that each took less than 30 minutes. The next tip I want to share with you is when you're starting to organize, make sure that you avoid extremes. I want you to think broad, not deep, when it comes to organizing a project, and avoid the minutia. This is not the time to organize your socks by color, okay? Yes, your sock drawer might be messy because you don't have them matched up. So go find all those stray socks and get them matched up, fold them, and then toss them in the sock drawer. You don't have to make your drawer look like this. When you start to organize at this depth, you're going to run out of energy and you're going to be more apt to quit. The next tip is make sure that you're realistic when you're choosing an organizing project. If your entire home looks like this desk, it is not going to disappear over a few days and become neat and tidy. You have to ask yourself these important questions. How long have I been disorganized? Because if you've been disorganized for a long time, don't expect yourself to clean it up in just a matter of days. Also, ask yourself, has my disorganization been lifelong? Kind of a pattern on how you live, or is it recently due to a life event? Maybe you had a baby a month ago and you've been just trying to get some sleep every night and you haven't had time to deal with all the mail coming in, piling up in the kitchen counter. So there's 2 different instances here, but I think it's important for you to answer those questions so that you can be realistic in knowing what to expect of yourself when you're organizing. And this leads right into a question that I often receive from people. Audrey, how long should I actually sit down and organize in an area? And I often tell them, if you're new to organizing, don't spend any more than 3 hours. And if you are going to commit 3 hours, make sure that you're scheduling some break time in there. Get outside and get some fresh air, get up and stretch, definitely get a healthy snack, definitely drink plenty of water. But you want to spend, I would say, less than 3 hours in any project when you're new to getting organized. The next thing that I often provide my clients over the years is this equation that I came up with, and it's slow plus steady equals long-term success. And what I mean by that is, again, not rushing into this and saying, this weekend, we are going to organize the entire house. Okay, if you say that to your family, come Saturday morning, they're not going to be there. They will have disappeared by then. All right, so be very realistic, but think of it in slow and long term. So I'm going to give you some examples. Think about organizing by topic. So let's say one of your hobbies is knitting, and you've got lots of knitting supplies and needles and yarn sitting around, and that would be something easy to just focus on, just the yarn and deal with that, or other hobbies that you might have. You might have shoe boxes full of photographs that you've been collecting for years, and you know what? You know it's time to sit down, open up those boxes, and deal with them. But that's all you're doing, is you're only dealing with what's in those shoe boxes. I've got a stack of towels here because you might decide I want to focus on some of our closet space. So you start out with the linen closet, the towels and the sheets and other things that you have stored there. Then you move on and maybe you do a coat closet and then your clothing closet and then maybe a storage closet. But that's a topic. That's a general area of the home are closets. Another area, a general area, is on your computer, and that's your email inbox. And you might say, you know what, it's time to deal with all the emails in my inbox. I got to get them organized. And then finally, you might decide to focus on a room. And I often will walk people through this exercise. I ask people, count the number of rooms in your home and lump all the bathrooms together as one room. So once you figure out how many rooms you had, could you commit to spending 1 month per room over the next 8 to 12 months? And over the next year, you will have organized your whole home. But by doing that slowly and gradually, what's going to happen is you're not only going to stick with the project long term, but as you get rooms organized and tidier, you're going to live with them in that way, and you're going to be able to maintain them, which then will set you up for that long-term success that I talked about earlier. Finally, have some fun. Now, people like me are naturally wired to love organizing, but you might not be. You might view getting organized as a chore, as a lot of work. So I say do whatever you have to in order to have fun. And that might mean inviting a friend or a buddy over to help you organize that garage or your kitchen. It might be playing some tunes loudly, but just make it fun. You also might be competitive with yourself. So you might use your cell phone and set a timer and say, all right, how many drawers can I go through in the next 18 minutes? And just have a little competition with yourself. And then finally, anticipate some fun surprises throughout this process, because you're going to run across things and find things that you haven't seen in years. And you might even find the missing puzzle piece to the puzzle that everyone was working on last Christmas. Make sure you hit the red subscribe button below if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, because you're not going to want to miss the next video in this series. And that is video number 5, in which I give you the ins and outs of sorting and purging. I'm going to answer this question: are you going to make me throw everything away? And what supplies do I need in order to have a really successful sorting and purging session? So you're not going to want to miss out on that. Well, I hope that you have enjoyed this productivity pointer brought to you by Organized Audrey, where our goal is to help you get more done with less stress. Make it a great day.